Hello. Um, so I've got some really cool news and stuff to blog about on here. 3 months ago, Paul rushed me into A&E with really bad abdominal pains. At the time, I had no idea what was going on, or just didn't know. The doctors had taken lots of samples and worked out that I had something called H. pylori, which is a bacterial gut infection. Pretty nasty. It basically eats away at your intestines and it's horrible. They put me on a dose of antibiotics, and that was 3 months ago. And although the H. pylori had gone, my stomach had been absolutely messed up by it all. So at that point, I wasn't eating much, couldn't eat hardly anything, and had cramps in the night, would just wake up in a lot of pain, found lots of food would just not, I couldn't tolerate a lot of food, and started eating really plain food and taking out things like gluten and wheat and milk, because everything would just seem to aggravate my stomach and I wouldn't sleep, and it was just a bit of a nightmare really. While this was all going on, I really struggled with anxiety about it. I've had anxiety issues for a very long time, but this really pushed me over the edge, where I was just so worried about my body, didn't know what was happening, didn't know if something worse happening, couldn't understand why I couldn't eat things, just all over the place. Just so the last 3 months haven't been great. I've lost a stone in weight in about I think in about a month. I lost about a stone in weight. Really unhappy, not myself, and just incredibly anxious. So that was that, and I'm sure people that have been around me have seen me not being my normal self and being a bit up and down and not particularly great. So with all this happening, I started really kind of praying to God about it all, and as you do, you ask for healing, you ask for, you don't understand what's going on sometimes, and God doesn't show you the big picture straight away. You don't really realise what's going on. I've got some amazing friends around me, like Natalie Harmer, for one, who would speak a lot of wisdom, a lot of truth in situations, and would pinpoint areas that she knew that I was struggling with. The huge thing about anxiety is that you end up in a dark place and your brain just goes off on one, and it's very difficult to get your focus back on God. When you're a Christian, that's something that makes a huge difference in your life. And as I was going through all this, I felt God say to me, it's not all about the health issues, that's not the main thing that you need to deal with, it's your anxiety. And struggled hugely with that. And then about 2 weeks ago, I got to a point where I was just got so sick of myself, so broken, so fed up, that I just was able to surrender, thankfully, everything to God. God had clearly said to me that I'd not given him my mind, and that my mind was something that I was holding on to and trying to work out what was wrong with me, trying to figure out a lot of stuff, and he wanted my mind. And there's one particular night where I was waking up in the night with absolutely terrible nightmares. And every time I woke up, I just would pray, God, I give you my mind. God, I give you my mind. God, I give you my mind. To the point where I woke up in the morning and God had given me a song. Straight away in the morning, I had this random song, real random. And I know it's when it's a random song from nowhere, I know that's God and it's not me. And it was a song from the Trolls movie called what's it called now? It was a song called True Colours. The words go, you with your sad eyes, don't be discouraged. I realise it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. Because I was looking around at everybody going, oh, they're all right, what's wrong with me, kind of thing. You lose sight of it all, and the words carry on, and the things that it says in there is that you've lost your laughter, and but I'm always there for you. And I felt God really speak to me through that song, to the point where I just was totally broken, and just got to a point of just going, right, okay, God, I can't do this my way anymore. I can't be freaking out every time something bad happens. I need to trust you and be at peace. And just chose that. And that day, something changed in me mentally. The physicality hadn't changed. Everything else was going on, and I still felt like I was in a boat surrounded by a storm. So that was 2 weeks ago now, or a week and a half ago. So that was going on, and I felt like I was getting somewhere in my mind with God and getting back on track. And then on Sunday morning, I went for prayer in church, and I just started to believe, you know what? Why can't I be healed? Why can't God do this for me? And at that moment that I was being prayed for, I felt God also say to me, you need to start eating properly. Stop taking out the gluten and the wheat and everything else that you're taking out, and start eating properly. And I think there was a fear in me that, if I eat this and that and the other, it's going to start my cramps again. And I was frightened. And God just really clearly said to me, start eating. So that was on Sunday. And now it is Friday. And in those 6 days, I've had no cramps. I've had no stomach has been fine. I've been absolutely fine. And I even went for some awful tests this week, and they all came back normal. And I know that people out there go, oh, well, it's just all a coincidence and blah, 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 blah. But you know what? I know that I've been healed. I know that God has healed me slowly. It's not been, and actually, he was more bothered about my my mental state than he was about my physical state. He wasn't bothered about whether I had stomach cramps particularly. I mean, he obviously loves me and he doesn't want that for me, but he wants the whole of me. And I remember reading in the Bible last week, it says about, in Corinthians, it talks about, you find it, it talks about taking every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. So I'm learning that every time a negative thought, a evil thought, a lot of them sometimes, comes into my mind, I've got to take hold of that. I've got to take captive of it and go, you know what, it's not for me, I'm not listening to that. I give it to God and keep doing it. And it's a process, and it's not straightforward. And there's days when I'm not perfect, and I can listen to the wrong things again, but I'm learning hugely that I need to take my thoughts captive and give them to God. And I really believe that he's used this time to strengthen me, to bring me closer to him, to break something that needed to be broken for a long, long time. I was putting Joel to bed the other night, and bless him, he's only 6, and he's scared of the dark at the moment. And I was lying next to him and saying, look, you know what, God's with you. In the darkness, he's with you. And when you're frightened, sometimes that's the best place to experience God, because you're looking for the light, you're looking for the answers, you're looking for something else other than yourself. And God really spoke to me while I was talking to my son, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what God's been doing in me. It's like I've been in a dark place, and yet I've gone, right, God, I need you, I want you, I need to change, my mindset needs to change, I need to change. And he's used all of this stuff that was meant for bad, he's turned it around, and glory to God, he's completely changed me. And I feel so peaceful, and I'm just so grateful in a really, like, it's been horrible, but I'm grateful that God has used this dark time to bring me closer to him, and I just feel free. I feel peaceful, and that is just pretty awesome. So just gonna leave this, and I hope that it encourages some of you. I hope that you, if you're going through something similar, that you just get close to God and just believe him, and get into his word. That's something that's really spoken to me. I've really read my Bible differently. I've found some great scriptures that have just been a rock to me, and God has been a rock to me. And you might be going through some dark times yourself, whether you're Christian or not. It doesn't matter. God's there, and if you choose to seek him, you will find him. You will definitely find him. So I hope this encourages you. Some of you, I can eat now. It's great. Bless you. Bye.